Hiya, 1st of April 2020, and furloughed for a month. I think everybody's feeling the effects of this virus that's going round, and it's finally caught up with the company that I work for. So, housework's done. She's gone to work, my missus, and left me a list of jobs there done. So it's time to come back up to the shed. I've just finished the Spitfire, and before that, the Stoker. So my love is fast jets, and I managed to drop on a McDonnell Douglas F4J Phantom just prior to Christmas. I've been pouring it off and pouring it off because I wanted to do those other two builds, but it's time now, and I've got time now. So I thought that I'd have a look in box this morning and see what it's all about, see if there's any surprises, and go through it with you for anybody that's interested. Loads and loads of reviews on this, some fantastic ones by guys who I know and chat to regularly, but obviously I thought I'd put my spin on one as well. So straight away, 32 scale from Tamiya, very expensive kit, ton plus, and if you're used to building these, then you know, fair enough. If you're a 1 in 48 guy like I usually am, then to come up this scale up to 32, the difference on things like ejector seats and the tiny little parts, and you know, the detail that you can put on for a builder like me out at box, it's great because I can sort of focus on every little individual component, which is what I'm sure that you'll do. So for example, you know, ejector seat, and you treat that as a kit all on its own, two of them obviously, and just don't rush it. Just make sure that, you know, you take your time and you're looking at sort of online reference photos and pictures that you get in the kit, in the instructions, and pictures that you get outside at box and things like that. I've seen loads and loads of examples of this. I know my mate Julius, over in the States, he knocks these out for fun. Not for me. You know, I'm going to give it a go. I've got plenty of time, like I say. Well, while I'm suffering with this furlough thing. So it's as simple as that. I've opened the box and I've had a look inside. I've had a quick look at decals. I've had a quick scan through instructions. I'll go through them with you in a minute. Some people save for this kit. I know I had to. Wife and kids. I can't just dip my hand in my pocket and keep pulling hundreds and hundreds of pounds out. So this is one of those sort of elevation kits, if you will. When you're looking at 48 scales and 72s, you know, the comparison on price wise, you can get a decent 48 kit for 20 quid kind of thing, right up to your 50, 60, 70 pound Tomcat from Tamiya. Excellent kits, I'm sure. And then you start looking at £100 plus, and I suppose in the scheme of things, for somebody like me, it's, you know, it's a lot of money. And like I say, I can't just sort of shell out for stuff like this every 2 minutes. So this is like an Aspire build. It's one that I've put off and put off, not because I'm not good enough, because I know I am, and I know I'll make a cracking job of it, like, well, I'm hoping I will. But it's just sort of, you know, it's pouring it off to say I've got the time, I've got the skill, I've got the paint set and everything that I need to sort of crack on with this. I'm looking at my supplies this morning. 4 pots of Tamiya extra thin, 2 pots of Tamiya regular, an abundance of masking tape, all my paint over there near my spray booth. So I should be okay. Everything's on lockdown, isn't it? And it's frustrating. But in grand scheme of things, keeping it real, let's not be going out and sort of like unnecessary journeys. Even I'm not that daft. So there you go. So not a lot of sprues in this kit. I was quite surprised actually. I thought there might have been sort of 15, 16 sprues. I'm going to take them off my rack board in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 7. That's because the fuselage comes in a full shell. I'll show you that. and go through detail. Hopefully my phone camera will pick that out, and the wing as well. Rubber tyres in this one, and you get some little screws to screw it together, and they even supply you with a little screwdriver as well. It's quite nice actually. I have done the 32 scale F16 from Tamiya, the block 50. I did that last year, and it's exactly the same. It screws together, and they give you a supplied nose weight in that, and it's shaped, it conforms to exactly where it sits, and there's no guessing and getting a weighing scale out and saying, well, you know, a Snickers bar weighs this much and does that sort of like feel like same. In that kit, it's made and cut to shape and everything. You don't get one with this kit, and it will be going wheels down. A lot of my kits recently, they've sort of been wheels up, put on acrylic bars, and I think it's time that I came back and did a bit of landing gear. I think that the landing gear in this particular kit, I'll show you a box in a minute, is metal. I've never worked with it before. It's going to be brand new. I'm going to be asking questions on Facebook, I've no doubt. I don't know if there's any burrs on it, any edges, any sanding to be done. I have got some metal files, so if they need to come out, then fair enough. I won't even know, you know, whether you need a specialist primer or to sort of paint these metal parts. I ain't got a clue. But that's half at fun. You know, sort of like exploring and tapping on the guys' knowledge to see what they've done and how they've sort of like crossed the bridges. So that's it basically. So thanks for tuning in. I've done enough ranting on now. I'll show you a box art and I'll go through sprues. Cheers. So that's the box art that I've got. I'm going to stand up out my chair. So it's that kit. It's the McDonnell Douglas F4J Phantom 2 from Tamiya, and that is a 1 in 32 kit. Okay, that's the box art. And then on to the side, some quite nice call outs there, and it tells you sort of like you know, odd colour and that kind of thing. Although it looks like it's in Japanese, it's translated into English as well. Moving across, again, it's sort of showing you which weapons go on which areas. I'm sure that that's also in instruction book as well. I've got absolutely no doubt. And then again, that's what I was saying. You know, with choosing each little individual component as a separate kit and taking your time with that. That's the Martin Baker. Let's have a look. It's a Mark H7 ejector seat, and I'm sure that that's going to look pretty cool as well. Spin it box round, there's no else on that side, and there's no else on that side. And then flipping it round, there's a couple of, there's your options. So that's your option for one of the call outs. That's that one. That's the navy version. F4J VF96 Fighting Falcons, and then we've got this one, which is the Warlords one. That's the one that I'm going to be doing. I've had my art set on that for quite a while actually, to do this colour scheme. I was going to do it on a test bed, you know, on a 48 that weren't as expensive, but I'm not going to bother. I'm just going to dive straight into this 32. That's the Marines one. I'm sure I've heard it called Rocking Rhino. I couldn't be 100% whether it is actually this one or not, but again, I've seen it done, and I can't wait to get stuck into that sort of colour scheme. The navy decals, I've actually already donated them out to a guy at club that's already doing a Phantom, and he's asked me if he can pinch some of my decals, and I've said yeah, of course you can. So putting the box to one side and getting that out. So we've got shell and lower wing. I'll get rid of that. So there you go. So that's obviously the inside, and you've got the front undercarriage. That's already in. That's moulded on. So you're not having to faff about with sides and ends and sort of like, you know, it can get a little bit fiddly, that, can't it? I've got no doubt that there's going to be holes to drill in this section, but looking at that rear landing gear area, that looks like it's going to be okay. I'm going to flip it over, and hopefully the light, because I'm sat in my garage, and it's just got sort of like you know, the fluorescent tube lights, so I'm hoping that you can see a bit of that detail. And camera on phone, it's doing its bit. Okay, coming down, you've got your recesses in that little section there for some weapons, and the ones at the back as well with the holes already cut out. So that's all your lower, that's all the lower wing. I'll pop that in the box and move on to this, and I'm actually going to come out a little bit just so you can get it all in. It's a bit of a beast, is this Phantom. She's a nice size, it's a lovely size to work on. Looking at what interests me really, which is in this day and age, as you know, it's recessed lines that'll take a bit of a wash, because box art suggests that this bird came off an aircraft carrier down there, look. So I'm sure that she was mucky at one point. I don't want to get into the debate of cleanliness and sort of ground crews, ship crews if you will, that wanted to keep them pristine. It's down to each individual modeller's taste what they do, and I like to stick a wash on. Got a little bit of extra detail here in your, just behind your canopy section and your tool cutouts. Let me just put my finger into line. Got your tool cutouts there, and again that suggests to me that you can do canopy open, which is great. This nice to see as well, that's the entire back section, and you can do all that separate. I do like this as well. I'm sure that when the horizontal stabilizer, vertical stabilizer, sorry, goes on, it'll sit flush onto that, and that'll look nice as well. So yeah, good detail, looks alright. It'll take a wash, and like I say, I've done the F16, so I know that that bottom wing half that's going to go onto that is going to fit snug as a bug. So sprue number one, I'm going to just do that, and it's H. You can see, in fact I'll show you that, look. So I've just pulled that out of there, that's ready to go. So that, it's just a block of wood. I've had inquiries in past where people have seen them online and they've said, oh, you know, where do you buy them from? You just get a bit of wood and cut some grooves in, because that's all I did, and it just makes your sprue acquisition just a lot tidier and a lot neater, and you're not having to faff about looking through boxes. Now that's not me sounding big-headed, because my sort of studio place that I work, just a very quick pan round, you can see it's big. In fact, it's absolutely enormous. It's my garage basically, isn't it? Aren't I lucky? So coming on then, so sprue H, it looks like we've got some wheel centres and some console parts. Looks like we've got there and there. Look, front HUD display, and again, let me just have a look at that. So that, if it'll focus in, it might be trying to catch tape. Look at back, there you go. And I haven't got my specs on, so I can't really see whether it's picking detail up or not. That looks like your instrument panel. Nice detail there, some small parts. Let me just have a look. So again, so for these, get my finger in line. So for bits like this that can go sping, all I do is turn it upside down, put some masking tape across the back there, flip it back over, get my blade, cut it, and it sticks to masking tape, and then it don't go flying off at 100 miles an hour. But that's just me, everybody's different. Some people do it in a bag and all sorts of things. Moving on then, some more console, two head-up displays. I'm not sure why. I've not looked that much into detail yet, into instruction book. And this is looks like sprue F. It looks like a dual sprue. You've got a gate, you've got some gates, and I suppose that could snap off. You've got your office, and again it's a decent size. Just looking at the size of my thumb, and I'm massive. I'm absolutely enormous, mate, and that's big. It looks like all these little bits here all get put onto these bits here. Now I have looked in the decal pack, and you don't get instrument panel decals. That's a mouthful. You don't get them, so it's going to look like it's a bit of a dot and dab. Or I know that you can get aftermarket sets, and some of them are pre-coloured, which look absolutely lush. Unfortunately, wife would suggest that I didn't do that, and we all know why, because that's what happens. So we've got 2 sprue Cs. I'm only going to go through one. This looks like you've got the duplicate, so what you get on this one you get on other one. And again, I know cans and intakes, weapons, having to put all your fins onto your armament. I'm sure they do that, you know, sometimes just to put the parts count up and call it a 300 part kit. Because some of these kits I've seen, they come with the armament on its own sort of individual sprue, and they're already built up, so you're not faffing about with fins and stuff. But hey ho, it's how it is, isn't it? We've got a burner can. I know that one you can get aftermarket for that. You can get resin parts for that and all sorts of stuff. And again, I can't do that. So this is just going to be out of the box. Two halves of your massive fuel tanks, and again they'll be going on your outer pylon. And nice to see, actually, pilot figure. Whether I have to chop his legs off or not to make him fit in, we'll wait and see. Because on some of them kits, have you noticed, you sort of get a 32 pilot figure in with your kit, and you have to chop his bloody legs off so that he fits in, which is a bit of a pain. And then there's the seat, well, part of the seat, and I'll show you the other bit in a little bit. And back of your exhaust cans there, that's obviously going to sit inside that lower fuselage half. So that's sprue C, and like I say, you get 2 of them, or you should do. Moving on, sprue B. Looks like your intakes, separate halves, and again, I've seen a million reviews on these kits, and seam lines inside, and you get aftermarket resin parts, and you know, you can sort of like do all that. I'm not going to go to town like that. I just can't afford to do that. But I will do the best job that I possibly can on what I've got, and I'm sure that's, if you're nodding now saying yeah, that's me, mate, then you know, kudos to you, because that's what we have to do, isn't it? We just have to make the absolute best of what we can, because we've got other commitments. I can see, so that one sits on top of your fuselage. That's for your canopy, and you've got some flaps as well. Looks like you've got a little bit of plastic undercarriage on this one, and again, little bits. So you've got your wheel centers, and again some tiny little bits here. These ones, pretty sure that they're for your undercarriage bays, and we've got some struts, some nice detailing here. Look, you can see, I'm going to move my finger down, bit of nice detailing there. Standard issue, isn't it, having lines across your intakes. They're nice, they'll take a nice wash. As far as flash and you know, sort of burrs and all that sort of stuff, I've done a couple of reviews in past, and I'm not into it. I've said before, you know, what do you want? Whether you've paid £1 or £100, at the end of the day, it's come out of an injection machine, and you're gonna get it. Yeah, sometimes you get it in its excess, but other times it's just, you know, it doesn't matter whether you've got tons of it or none of it. Surrounding that flash is going to be a part that you want. You know, I've got files and burrs and stuff like everybody else has. So you know, you just have to crack on, don't you? It's as simple as that. And for me, it's sort of like it elongates the build time. I don't want to rush it. If I have to spend an extra minute or two just sanding a piece down and just making it nice and tidy before it fits nice, then that's what you have to do. Simple as that. So stabilizers at back, lovely, and that looks like that's a one piece. There, look. So that will sit underneath like that, won't it? Because they are that way on. So yeah, so that little piece, that's nice, because that means that your angles are going to be right. Happy days. Not having to balance two stabilizers on 2 pots of glue, which is nice. It is nice, because you know, it's what you want. And then again, your nose cone, lovely, standard, nice, lovely finish, and it's nice plastic as well. It's not that sort of air fixy plastic, which is a similar colour, but it's almost like it's been made out of a margarine tub sort of plastic. You know what I mean. I'm not dissing Airfix, I love Airfix. And then my last one then, so sprue A, again you've got your intake areas, and again these are the bits that I'll sort of look on and concentrate on, because I've seen reviews saying, oh, you know, watch for seam line and one thing and another, and you've got to paint it, prime it, paint it, sand it back and all sorts of stuff. Don't get me wrong, I will end up doing it because I work to the best of my ability, like the rest of you really. Perfection, no. Best I can do, yeah, why not? You know, spent a lot of money on a kit, you're not just going to throw it together, are you? You are going to take your time, that's a natural thing to do. And then you've got your upper wing halves here, bit of a bulge there, I'm not sure what that's for, because I haven't done my research, like I said. Before I actually start this build, I know that I've lettered up my sprues, but I will sort of, what I tend to do is, I don't just buy kits for a stash. I buy kits because I want to build them, and I'm, you know, falling in love with the subject, and I really feel like I've got to do it, and this particular kit is one of them. So I'll absolutely hammer YouTube for hours and hours on end before I start even thinking about putting it together. F4 Phantom 2, so single-handedly, because I've got my phone in my other hand, so you can just concentrate on that and say, what's he got in there while he's undoing that box? I'll tell you what I've got in the box. I've got tyres, rubber tyres, cool, nice one. Tread as well, you can see that, can't you? Let me just come in a little bit more. Can you see that? Lovely, that's lush, that. Put that to one side. Last thing in the box, if I can get it out. I love it when they put stuff in little individual boxes like this. It's like Christmas, isn't it? Every day. So, what's in here? Single-handedly again. Undercarriage. Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. So, it's metal. And again, let me just see if I can pick it up on camera. I've just said I haven't got my glasses on, so I can't really see, and my eyesight over the last sort of 2 years has just gone so poor, and it really winds me up. But I'll tell you what I can do, I can feel it, can't I? It feels as rough as a bear's backside, that. So yeah, it does, really rough. Really, yeah, very rough. So again, I'm going to have to give that a little bit of a fettle, I guess, aren't I, to make it smooth. Unless somebody comes on and comments and says, actually, no, Mark, it was rough. Yeah, whatever, don't believe you. I'm going to pop that there. That is the bottom end. And again, you can see that that's just going to fit on. These Tamiya kits, this is going to fit on snug as a bug, isn't it? We all know it. Let me just have a look at detail there. In fact, while I just put that there, I've got my glasses on a piece of string around my neck, so I'm going to put them on, so I can see what I'm doing. Let's have a look then. Is that a seam line down middle of there? Can you see that up at top end? Yeah, it is. Yeah, I'm going to have to take, that's going to have to come out. no drama, little sand, it's alright. And we've got a couple of little sort of, there, look, that's just focused, hasn't it? But detail wise, I'm hoping that you can see all them rivets and screw holes and screw heads like that. A little bit of sanding to do around that hole there. You can see that seam line now. Now I've got my glasses on, you can see that stands out a mile. So I'm going to have to fettle that. Coming on, so we've nearly finished. I hope I haven't bored you too much. That's the seat then. So tiny little bits to cut off, and again, it's no drama. It's part and parcel of kit. It's what we do. And then you've got your screws and your screwdriver, which I've just plunged in there. So that, a short review. I'm not talking about flash. I'm not talking about fit. Like I said, we get them all the time, and we just have to deal with them. Just have to deal with them, don't we? Best we can. I'm going to pan out so that you can see that. That's the 2 sheets of decals that you get in this kit. So you do get the Navy one and the Marines one. And my mate Mark, hiya Mark, he's asked for them, so I'm going to do these. But again, you can see that there is no instrument panel decals on these. No. And Phantoms are notorious, aren't they, for having like a million decals that everybody absolutely hates. But do you know what? There ain't going to be a million decals on these. There's going to be enough to keep me busy. Don't worry about that. Cartograph, by the way. I know some people are a little bit, I want to know who makes the decals. It's Cartograph. For me, again, because I'm an out-of-box builder, I wouldn't spend 10, 15 quid on going and getting extra decals. At the end of the day, Microsol and Microset, they'll pull them down anyway. Absolutely no drama. We've got, so instructions then, black and white, showing a few actual few reference, actual real life reference photos. Little bit of what it's all about, I'm sure. What you need for painting, and don't do this and make sure you do that and all that sort of stuff. You never read them, do you? You just crack on. Don't lie. Tools that you need, obviously you're going to need some tools to build it as well. Okay, so page 1, which is actually page 5, telling you to start on fuselage side, the full body, and the intake areas, sticking these bits in and one thing and another, and pre-painting, making sure that you do all that sort of stuff. Making holes, make 2mm holes on both sides. You've got to make sure that you read these instructions, haven't you? How many times have you built a kit and then you've come to put something on and you think, oh god, and then what you do, don't you, you flick back to page where you think, and you're turning back, and then you find that bit that it says drill a hole here, and you think, why didn't I read that? So nice and steady away. So you've got your intake sides there, and they look like they just go on. And then we've got an option for, well, I'm hoping it's an option for refueling. I'm the kind of guy that, and I've had this argument with people before, if it's in the box, it's going on the kit. It's as simple as that. I haven't paid over £100 to have a box full of plastic by the time I've finished. I want to get my money's worth. So if that is an option, if that's an option, then that'll be sticking out. Okay, burner end, that's the don't touch your burner end. Oh, it's there, look, you can see, look, it's spot on, is that one part, smashing. Back end, few bits to add, no problem, follow your arrow, clip it onto that, and then down there, and they sit on inside. Screw, let me just come in here so you can see. Fix, temporarily secure until step 7. Handy to know. Might have to miss that. it's not until stage 5 then that you get onto the officey bit, and again it's telling you what colour call outs you've got. I would honestly love to be able to get some aftermarket, because I know that a kit like this, it deserves it really, doesn't it? But hey ho. Making holes, open holes on that lower wing section and on the tops as well, and then it's just a matter of going bump. You can see it's actually screwed in there and there, into there. Now that's a good thing, that, because that is moulded onto your side, that is moulded onto your underwing. There's obviously one at the other side, and you'll know that just nipped up that little bit, it's going to be a marriage, isn't it? That's what you want. You don't want to have to be faffing about. And that's them little bits that I was talking about earlier on that go inside. Happy days. What we got up here, that's just a mirror of the other side, so no problem. Painting to do before you crack on. Arrestor hook. Got one right, I know what they call that. Burner cans, back end, yeah, back end, don't know what they call that, obviously. Back end, tiny little bits there. Oh, now then, J42, I'll have to make sure that they don't get pinged off, otherwise that's not going to fit, is it? That's going to look a bit of a mess. You do get quite a bit of remove with these Tamiya kits, I've noticed. There's some on upper end as well, I've already noticed. It's like cut this off, but it's not an ejector pin, it's not a part at gate, it's part that's actually just moulded on. I wonder why they do that, not sure. Anyway, moving on. So you've got tyres, tyre wheel centre, a screw into your parts there, loads of little parts there onto all that, and then it's telling you, you know, fit it all in. That looks pre-painted there, look, it's white. I do know that. I do know some stuff, you know. So flipping over, nose cone on. Having nose cone open is not an option, which either, don't really matter. It might be on some other kits, but it's not on this one. There, look, can you see? Look, remove. I wonder what's that all about? It's tiny little parts there telling you to take them off. Other side of your wheels then, sticking them on. One thing I'm glad to see is that we're up to stage 13 now, and you don't have to actually put these on until after, because you're looking and saying, I'm not going to stick them on, mate, till it's painted and all job lot, and I'm exactly the same. Because on some 48